In this video, I'll be taking you through the steps involved in completing the site structure workshop, which of course involves completing the questions asked on the worksheet, which is available and linked right here as a PDF. So if you click on the site structure worksheet, it will present to you the questions that you need to answer. It also gives you directions about answering that. So those are discussed right here. Complete the following questions in a separate Word document, and when completed, submit these files to the Georgia View site structure Dropbox, which is in the workshops section of the Dropbox on Georgia View. Okay, so the first step is to simply find an interior page of your food bank website, not the home page or even one of the subdomain home pages like the page for people to donate money or to participate, but some page that's further down the hierarchy. In this case, I'm using the Atlanta Community Food Bank, as you can see, and the page called Hunger 101, which you can find by clicking through from the educators section of the site. So with this page, I'll be completing the questions that are discussed on the worksheet. First of all, is just what is the page's URL, and that's simply a matter of copying and pasting a working link from the page. It needs to be working so that I can click on it in your Word document and take a look at the page that you're discussing. In that case, of course, it would just simply be this one, www.acfb.org/about/r-programs/hunger101. And you notice I'm looking forward to some of the later questions that R programs and Hunger 101 are both connected by hyphens. Okay, so I copy and paste that in answer to question number 1. Number 2, does the site follow the Web Style Guide's recommendations for folder and file names? This should be obvious from the page's URL. So in Chapter 5, it discusses the fact that we should always use real English language words for the folders that structure our site. And in this case, you see that the Atlanta Community Food Bank has done exactly that with About, Our Programs, and Hunger 101. To give you an idea of what a site might look like if it didn't take the extra step of doing this, this is a page from the Inner Atlanta FC Blues, which is a local soccer league that I am involved with. And their website includes a page called Tryout Information and Recreation, something like that. Tryout Information Registration, excuse me. But you see the URL here is called /default.aspx tab ID = 185611. So that URL for this page works perfectly fine for the computer. It'll always get you to the page, but it doesn't give Google search engines any information about exactly what the contents of the page is. So this is a poor example of what a dynamic website might do, which will make it a little bit harder for people to find the page. This, on the other hand, is also a dynamic website, but they've taken the extra step to create plain English language URLs. And to that extent, they're doing a good job with question number 2. Question number 3. Is the page's title descriptive and precise? Is it unique, or could the title be used on a number of other pages? So the title, of course, is what appears in the tab. And if you hover over it in Chrome, often you'll see the tooltip pop out that will give you the complete title if you can't see it already in the tab. Let me hover over that again. As you can see here, it's Hunger 101 / Atlanta Community Food Bank. So no other page in the site is labeled Hunger 101. So the ACFB is doing a good job with that aspect of site structure. So we've answered that question as well. All right, from here, it is important that you use Chrome because Google's Chrome has a number of features that will make this worksheet easier to complete. And for these next few questions, you'll be using the View Page Source function within Chrome. Every modern browser will allow you to view the actual HTML and the other code that make up the web pages that it can show you. This is just how Google shows them to you in Chrome. So you select View, Developer, and then View Source to reveal the page's code. So back to my sample page, I go to View, Developer, View Source, and what Chrome does is opens the same page, the identical page, in a separate tab. So this and this are exactly the same thing. It's just in this case, Google's Chrome is showing you what the computer sees and reads in order to process the information that it received from the server in order to produce something that looks like this. So this is the Hunger 101 webpage. Okay, so question number 4. How many style sheets does the page use? Well, the site structure chapter gives you an introduction to cascading style sheets, and it discusses how valuable cascading style sheets can be in order to create a site that is solid, has a solid foundation, and is easy to maintain and upgrade. And the section on cascading style sheets starts on page 132 and continues through page 135. We'll be talking a lot about cascading style sheets. This is just an introduction to it, but it's a pretty good one. One of the things that the chapter says is that style sheets are a very good idea, and often modern websites use multiple different style sheets. So question number 4 asks you how many style sheets this particular page uses. And to do that, as it says, you can use the edit find in the page source and look for the keyword style sheet. So I could go to edit find, or I could just use the shortcut Command F. And what Chrome does is opens this little box up here, and you can type in the word style sheet, and it will show you another nice feature of Chrome, how many hits you got on that search. So there are 7 instances of the keyword style sheet in this page, which tells me that this page is using 7 different style sheets, and they're all shown right here. So each of these is a separate CSS file, and together they will create the look of this page. The background colors, the link colors, the layout in 2 columns, all of that information is contained within these 7 style sheets. Your food bank website may not use anywhere near 7 style sheets. Hopefully it uses at least 1, because as I said before, that's certainly a best practice for modern websites. All right, so 7 is my answer to question number 4. Number 8, does the page use JavaScript? Again, I can use edit find to search in the code for the keyword open bracket script. And the tip here on number 5 says include the open bracket but not the period. So go back to the code, go back to the search box, type open bracket script, and I see 41 instances of JavaScript libraries that are being called every time this page is presented to somebody on the web. Most of them in the header, but some further down the page as well. So yes, this page uses JavaScript. Actually, too much. It uses it to a default, but at least most of that JavaScript is included in a separate page. And that's what question numbers. And all these JavaScript documents are separate external files. They're not stuffing all of this JavaScript into the actual HTML document. The next question will allow us to find out how often they're doing that. Question number 5, the answer is 41 in my case. 41 separate instances of JavaScript files. Okay, so to find out how much JavaScript is actually embedded in this HTML document, I search for something slightly different. As it says on question number 6, open bracket script close bracket will tell me how many blocks of code are actually embedded into this document. 4 separate blocks, but what I discover is that some of those, especially this one, that starts on line 73 is an extraordinarily long block of code that's just packed into this HTML document. And that is a place where the Atlanta Community Food Bank actually does fail in terms of its site structure. As it says in the Web Style Guide on page 141, one of the things that makes a page hard for Google to deal with is if it includes lengthy JavaScript or CSS code at the top of the page, HTML code listing. Spiders or crawlers give up on a page that seems to contain no content. These huge blocks of JavaScript code simply get in the way of the spider's efforts to understand the actual content of this page. JavaScript is great, but if you're using JavaScript, a modern site should do it the way that question number 5 illustrates the Atlanta Community Food Bank actually does, which is include separate external JavaScript files, which this page simply calls with one line of code when it loads. So the Atlanta Community Food Bank is doing it properly in many cases, but they also still, for whatever reason, are including an awful lot of JavaScript in their HTML files, which is a bad idea. Okay, so bracket script close bracket will allow you to find the blocks of JavaScript that are actually in the page itself. Okay, so that's question number 6. Question number 7, how many div tags are included in this page? I'll go back to the code then and use the find command to search for the keyword open bracket div. That will find the beginning of all the div tags in this code. So, all right. And not surprisingly, there are many. There are 240 separate divisions. This page, in other words, has been divided into 240 separate sections. That's what div tags do. And that doesn't surprise me at all. Many modern web pages include hundreds, if not thousands, of separate divisions within the document. The div tag is really the basic building block of the modern web. Div tags allow you a lot of control in creating your divisions, and they do that by allowing you to include a label. You see here, for example, this div tag on line 83 has been ID'd skip link. Here's another div tag on line 92 that's been ID'd logo. Here's another one that's been ID'd menu bar and classed nav clearfix. Nav short for navigation. Here's one that's been classed menu wrapper. And there's another menu wrapper. Okay, so 240 divs in this page, most of which are including English language descriptive semantic labels in order to define what this particular div tag is all about. My answer to question number 7 is 240, which I find in Chrome right up here. And the answer to question number 8 is the semantic names that I just listed. So yes, it does use semantic names for the IDs and classes that are included in each div tag. And some of those examples include region, wrap, field items, and let's see, menu wrapper. Okay, and there's menu bar, which is probably the most clearly semantic example in this page. And that's the 8th of the 8 questions in the site structure worksheet. Hopefully, once you've completed this exercise with your food bank, you'll have a much clearer idea of just how effective the site structure that the web designer hired by your food bank was, how closely she or he followed best practices when it came to setting up the structure of the food bank's website.